You're listening to the Uprise Astrology Podcast, a podcast that inspires the present-day visionary to rise to their best life. My name is Aylin Sky, and I'm an astrologer and numerologist. I'm best known for cutting right through the noise and bringing the most important messages to you. Welcome back to Uprise Astrology, friends. We are live again to take a look at the upcoming astrology for all of my Scorpio Rising friends. I hope that you guys are well, and we're going to dive right into today's episode. Let's take a look at what is happening in the sky for you guys. So if you know that you're Scorpio Rising, this is going to respond more accurately with your own chart. So let's dive in. Mercury is now direct. Mercury has been helping you to weigh out all of your pros and cons when it comes to group relationships, when it comes to your social reputation, and what are some of the things that you actually have to pay attention to when it comes to those things, some of the details that are really important that you may have to focus on, some things you need to incorporate when it comes to social reputation, when it comes to group relationships or people that you are a part of or groups that you're a part of where you guys come together and you have sort of the same, mindset. There have been maybe a lot of sort of details that are surfacing here. Oftentimes when we take a look at Mercury in Virgo, and especially if it is retrograding in that sign, you could have had experiences where you've been drawing back some awareness or some memories from the past that have been disappointing or even at some level hurtful. And so you've been sort of just cleaning house in this area when it comes to what actually needs to happen moving forward so that the past doesn't get repeated. In my personal opinion, this is what this Mercury retro has been sort of all about. And also, Mercury started in your 12th house. This is where the retrograde phase started because it's in Libra, where you were taking a look at the meaning of sort of the value and the meaning and the depth of your relationships, but then you went back with being in Virgo, because it went all the way back to Virgo around 24 degrees, where you had to decide like what belongs within group, relationships or friends in general that are a part of your life right now, or maybe even past experiences with friends that you had to sort of reevaluate, and take a look at. And so this is a very big period here where Mercury starts to go online this week. So I'm going to go week by week to let you guys know how the planets are kind of transiting for you guys and what are the most important messages sort of to pay attention to from the planets. So if you're also here live in the chat, by the way, just drop a comment in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I always love to hear from you guys. So Mercury moves direct. Then the next step that Mercury starts to take is a trine to Pluto. Mercury will be in your 11th house, reputation, forming that trine to Pluto in your 3rd house. So some type of information starts to surface, or there is sort of an energy here now where you're starting to gain awareness around certain individuals in your life that you have to be aware, you have to have caution around that person. And it might be a particular subject that you're wanting to deal with, but you have to sort of figure out the timing of it. Mercury in Virgo is going to point out a very specific insight here that you had not paid attention to, and how that actually impacts you at this time, something that is going to catch your awareness that you will come back to at another time. And also during this time, you are sort of making up your mind about what you want to do as far as the outcome, but how you need to go about it is something that you're going to start to confront here. There's a willingness to start to confront on how to go about certain issues or challenges or anything that needs to sort of, be, I want to say, exposed or talked about, something that you want to kind of dive deeper into. But what you are sort of noticing here with this Mercury trine to Pluto, because Pluto is in your 3rd house, this is your mindset, this is your immediate environment. There is sort of a part of you that is starting to realize, I am noticing how this particular of currency or this particular type of vibe is impacting me. I had not noticed that before. There is a deep sort of profound insight that you're getting right from the get-go this specific week, and it gets backed up with Pluto going direct the next day. So Pluto then the next day starts to move direct in your third house, and so this is a big time for you guys, you know. And the reason why I say that is because Pluto has been here for a while, kind of restructuring what the truth is about communication style, your environment, what you actually are into when it comes to the type of lifestyle that you're living, but the environment. Right now that I'm on YouTube Live, we just went out for a moment. So my internet is not sort of the best, and we kind of can't switch our internet right now because the place that we're living, they provide the internet, and trying to change the internet and do something better is like a really big task. It's almost impossible to do. It's just part of some of the ways in which you live in Florida, by the way. Okay, so if I go out, just know I'm coming back. It's just like reloading at times. All right, you guys. So moving on to the second week of October. This is going to be a very interesting week. We have this Mars square Neptune that is coming exact during this week. It's going to be going on all week long. Mars is now in your 8th house. Mars in the 8th house, this is your psyche. This is all of your commitments. This is the people and the situations that you're most loyal to. Now here, Mars is going to restructure the way in which you think about it. And there's some kind of ideas or conversations that will come up now where you will start to restructure the way in which you view this type of or this aspect of your life. So the style in which you were doing things are going to change as far as your commitments, your loyalty, the most, profound sort of connections. What I mean by that is the things that are closest to you, whether that's money or people. Okay. Now it squares Neptune in your 5th house. So there's something that comes up here that is sort of a strange feeling when it comes to something that's personal to you, but also at the same time, anybody that is close to you, could be children, could be somebody in the romantic realm, or it could be anybody that you're kind of coming together with, you're having fun with that person. The 5th house is all about your joy. Those are some scenarios, okay? Because it's under the relationship umbrella right now because we're in Libra season. There could be sort of, or your relationship to a specific circumstance or a situation where money ties into it, and then also sort of the level of joy that you're having. There could be some kind of strange feeling in the air here where you have to have caution, okay? So caution around anything that you're consuming, whether that is now communication or energy. There are some things that are going to come up here where a situation or a person presents themselves to you in a way where it's just not right. Something about it isn't right. And you will start to gain more awareness around this. This is when you're starting to see that this particular situation with this person, it's not good. There's more to the story, and you're sensing it on such a deeper level now because this square is helping you kind of take a look at this situation beyond some of the boundaries that used to be there, or some of the facades, or some of the blockages that used to be there. You couldn't see it before, but now you're going to be able to get this situation and take a look at it. And there's a part of you that, because Mars is in Gemini in the 8th house, there's a part of you that is going to realize that you have to actually be a little bit more honest with yourself about how you actually feel with this person, okay? This is going to be sort of the first kind of big insight that you're getting into a situation that's could turn messy, okay? It could turn messy. You don't want it to turn messy. And what do you need to do about it? All this stuff you're going to start to work out here. The other thing I want to say, you're dealing with a specific relationship here that's really important to you, just know that there could be some back and forth in someone's intention. This person could go back and forth. There might be something that they're going through. You might be the person or the only person that can help. That might be another situation that comes up. Okay, we have different scenarios here, but in general, caution. There is sort of some red flags that are going up for me when I take a look at this, and this will ultimately be your choice of what to do about this. Just pay attention to what it is and how you need to go about it, because 23 is when this square is becoming exact between your 8th and your 5th house. 23 is a degree that is quick-tempered. It is quick react. It's mind-driven. And so there could be an impatience here, okay? Pay attention to that within other people as well. I'm not sure that you actually will be reacting in an impatient way, but maybe the situation could occur as if you need to deal with it immediately, but there's more to the story and you need to kind of wait and see. So this entire week is kind of under this square to overcome, all right? But there's other amazing things that are happening. Now, the day when we start this week, October 9th, that is when the full moon in Aries is going to be unfolding for you guys, and this is going to be in your 6th house. So your health and your lifestyle and any kind of routines that you have are actually going to start to come to a point where you will be cutting something out that no longer really works. This is about quality over quantity. You may have been working on your health or your lifestyle in a way where you've been doing something over and over again, but it's been exhausting at some level or it's been too much. And so now it's all about cutting this thing out. 16 is a degree where we are really following our instinct, and things make sense because we don't have the evidence, but it makes sense for us to actually have this bravery to cut something out, to not do it anymore. So for you guys, this has to do with your lifestyle. It has to do with your health overall, or some kind of organizational piece here that will get sorted out. And as a result of it, you're actually becoming faster. This is a word that is very important at this time. Something becomes more efficient or you are becoming faster. So look out for that. I will actually do another report for the full moon in Aries. So I want you to come back to that report. Look for it. It's going to happen this week where I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into this full moon in Aries and what it means for you. All right, October 10th, Mercury then moves into Libra. So it comes out of your 11th house. You've been weighing out the pros and cons about groups and relationships within those groups and your social reputation or friends. And now Mercury starts to move into the 12th house for you. And so this is where you're going to start to strengthen your faith again in situations in your life that involve other people, groups, friends, but also the meaning of those relationships. They're going to start to become a lot more evident now that you have had time to kind of weigh out the pros and cons about it. October 11th through the 12th, the sun is going to be in your 12th house right now, illuminating really faith and spirituality and the meaning of your life and the relationships that are attached to it. And it's going to form a trine to Saturn, which is in your 4th house. This is when a lot of you are going to start to get back into action about some things that you're done with when it comes to home, when it comes to family members. This is a very good time where you might even be incorporating some of the relationships of making a decision, and those relationships become a part of that decision and they benefit from it. But there is a sense of self-discipline here. There's a sense of just becoming centered again and a forward moving sort of energy. Okay, this is an energizing energy because 18 is a degree that ultimately moves into action, and it has to do with the day-to-day, has to do with the now, what's present for you right now in your relationship, home life, and your faith and your spirituality. All these things are starting to become a lot more supportive things that you have been maybe even looking for, and you're getting that support. And could be that you actually have some relationships that come into the picture now where you're starting to see this really feels good. This is the right relationship. This is the kind of vibe I want to be with. This is what I'm into, okay? And there's a deeper connection because of it, because Venus then starts to join the trine in the fourth house. This can also be a time for some of you. It's not going to be true for all of you, right? Because we're all very different in our storylines. But for some of you, you might actually be mending a relationship here that was in a sort of sticky situation. It wasn't the best, but there is a mending here that's happening. There's a part of you and this other person seeing eye to eye, and it could be someone that's close to you, again, a family member, someone that you consider family. Now, just be aware this entire week, the second week, right? I just want to circle back to this. At the same time as these beautiful things are happening, be aware of some other relationship dynamics that have that weird tone to it, because there's more to the story. Now, before I move on to the next transit, I do want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Aylin Sky. If you're here for the first time on my channel, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I'm an astrologer and a numerologist. I focus a lot on the degrees. That's sort of my thing. That's what I vibe with. And if you like what I have to offer here on my channel, I would love for you to hang out, subscribe, ring the bell, so that you never miss the most important messages for you, okay? Now, let's move on to the third week, October 17th and 18th. The sun is still going to be in your 12th house, trining Mars in your 8th house. This is going to be a time when many of you are going to have a very profound shift. The 8th and the 12th house are the houses where things are happening behind the scenes, right? And so this is going to be a time when many of you are starting to open up to a very profound insight. This insight has to do with things that you have been trying to kind of either overcome. This is one thing, okay? You've been trying to overcome it. You've been trying to kind of break through. And in many ways, my words will not even do any justice, because many of you have been sort of stuck maybe in a situation that felt very, I don't want to say demoralizing, but what I want to say is that it took a lot out of you. And so now what is happening is that the sun trine to Mars is telling you that time is done. That time is over. It's time now to lead yourself forward in a new direction. And you're taking big, bold actions after this. But there are other people attached to this. There are other connections or money even involved here, because the 8th house has to do with other people's resources or shared resources. At some level, it will also have to do with intimacy. You're starting to get this aha moment about yourself and the meaning of what has occurred up until this point. Because I know for you guys, this is something that's important, you know, like you can't move on until you get to the root of the issue. And that's important, because once you do that, you can actually move on. You get it. You get the intention behind it, and you can then make a better decision on how to move on from a situation that was baffling. It was sort of like you wanted to wrap your head around it. And so there's a profound insight here and an opportunity that comes up. Now, for some of you, this opportunity will also have to do with money, or it will have to do with something that feels incredibly important to you, and it has a lot of meaning in your life, okay? So there is that energy that is incredible during this week. We're headed into our eclipse the very couple of days, October 20th through the 26th. The sun is going to be in a conjunction with Venus. Now, the solar eclipse will have Venus in the story as well. We're going to cover that in another video. What I do want to point out here is a moment that comes and arises that I think is really worth paying attention to. October 20th through the 23rd, this is when the sun is still finishing up its transit through the sign of Libra. This is going to happen in your 12th house. And Venus will be together with the sun around 29 degrees. And so That's when they're becoming exact. This is going to be a time where for many of you, you start to just realize that, wow, like there's some doors that are opening in my life now. And you get a taste for profound shifts in your life that are happening. Many times, I know for me, when I have those moments, when I realize that there's such profound shift that's happening, I know for me, those are glimpses and insights I get into for what's coming next. And I think for you, you start to realize this next chapter that you're diving into, and this comes up here. You get a taste for it. There's a mastery behind it now. You start to realize that much of what you've been focusing on, the energies, some indescribable, you are now shifting forward. Whatever that forward means is the next chapter. Okay, so you get this insight, and then on the 23rd, boom, Saturn moves direct in your 4th house. This is when you're going to start to realize, all right, there's stuff that I have to handle when it comes to my home life, and even the home, like inside of your home, right? And then family members, or just in general, like your comfort zones. There is things that you now have to be more responsible for. Saturn moving direct is like all responsibility levels start to come back online. And then Venus and Scorpio start, Venus moves into Scorpio, the sun moves into Scorpio, we start to head into that solar eclipse. More on that later. And then October 30th, Mars is going to station to go retrograde. So this is going to be a time that you guys are going to start to make many shifts when it comes to commitments and that involve money, and then also some level of loyalty or what it is that you're actually trusting in your life. There is a lot that is going to come up here where you're going to have to either renegotiate or you're going to have to structure what that looks like. But you now have sort of a change that is occurring over the next several months. Mars actually moved into Gemini August 20th, and it's going to stay here until mid-March of 2023. It's a long time, and so this retrograde is going to happen here. I mean, it's like, it's all the details, it's all the words, it's all the negotiations, it's all the things that you haven't thought about. It's a mutable air sign, so there's a lot of change that is going to occur here. So we could say that this is going to be the new beginning to commitment levels and negotiations, to what you want to feel very close to, what you want in your life as far as money and intimacy, and anything that you feel like, this is my commitment, this is something that I want to hold close to me. So these are the types of things you could be working out during this time. This can also talk about, sex life for some of you. Again, it's going to be different and different levels, Mars retrograde at different times. We're going to talk more about that in another video. So if you want to know more about what October has in store for you, October 2022, if you want to know more about the poles and the energies, I have a separate video that's dedicated for this. I talk about the new moon in Libra. Every time we take a look at the new moon, if you're new to astrology, it gives us the entire energy for the whole month and kind of what's to come, what's the vibe behind all of it. And in that video, I focus on what you should be focusing on and why you should be focusing on it. I briefly mention where the new moon is happening for you, and then also cover some tarot with it. So watch that video next, watch that episode next. And I will see you guys back here in my next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.